Hey everybody, Real Estate Ninja here. I hope you're doing great. I've got some information for you. Did you know that Home Depot can actually tell you the health of the market, the real estate market? It actually can. It's almost like boots on the ground. I'm at my local Home Do-It Center, my local Home Depot, and I'm gonna talk today about their last earning calls and their upcoming earning call, which is, I believe, on May 16th. Now, what's really interesting, let's dive into this, and I'm gonna explain to you some things that happened in 2006, 2007, 2008, and the parallels to today. This is out of their last call. This was dated February 21st out of CNBC. Home Depot misses revenue expectations for the first time since 2019. It says here, Home Depot missed Wall Street revenue expectations for the first time since November of 2019. And remember, that was a very important pivotal time point because that's when the markets were normal. That was before you found out of a flu that came out of China and how it was going to affect everybody's lives, change everybody's lives, literally forever. And it drastically changed the landscape of the real estate market, the retail market, all type of markets, right? When people were forced at home, they actually had some extra spending money because the government gave them some stimulus money. They ran down to the Home Depot Center and they bought a bunch of fence boards. And then they ran out. And then they went up in price. Holy cow, it was expensive. Crazy times, right? But before that, business was normal, but it really wasn't because in 2018, 2019, the banks were in very serious trouble. The economy was moving into a recession and it was looking like a pretty ugly one and the Fed needed something. And then it came. So check this out. The home improvement retailer provided a muted outlook for fiscal 23 and expects sales growth to be approximately flat. Now I'm here to tell you that you're gonna see by the fall, Home Depot and Lowe's are gonna be calling it, oh my goodness, the retail buyer has stopped spending money. They're only buying necessities. The company attributed the flat outlook to a tougher consumer backdrop and pivot away from goods toward services. All right, so earnings per share in this last February when they came out with it were $3.30 versus $3.28, which was expected, but revenue, 35, a little over 35 billion. Versus a little over that, 35.97 billion was expected. So it fell a little bit. What they did is they came out and they talked about in their earnings call how the buyer has changed. The retail buyer of home improvement stuff has changed. Well, this exact same scenario played out in 2006, 2007. What happened was when the housing boom was happening and you had more and more flippers and more people that were fixing up their homes looking to sell it, you started seeing, and Home Depot CEO and their C-suite execs were watching this, higher end finishes, higher end switches. It wasn't just a light switch, it was the light switch with the digital display being bought, right? Why? Because people needed to compete. The housing market was booming, and then as it was starting to top, you saw flippers go from standard options, standard carpet to, oh my gosh, we got to put in granite, we got to put in high-end, slate tiled floors and, stained concrete and all that kind of stuff. And they spent more money, and it was easy to determine why they were doing it. They were buying those high-end finishes so that they could compete and sell their home. Then at the top of the real estate market, as it was coming down, those same home flippers, you saw drastically change their methods because their margins had shrunk so much. You saw them spending more money on the home. The mortgage had gone up so much more because interest rates were rising, right? Because the Federal Reserve was raising rates from 2005 to 2006. And what happened is those high-end finishes went away to back to the low-end finishes. Now, we are seeing that right now, right in front of you, but we have a bigger problem. See, not only do we have the exact same scenario playing out with high interest rates, being the mortgage rates, high home prices, and these home flippers have shrinking margins, but now you have massive inflation across all the boards. Like we have food inflation, energy inflation, all kinds of things. The consumer is tapped, thus causing home flipping to be less and less profitable. Now, on top of that, you not only see less of these high-end finishes being sold in home do-it centers like Lowe's, Home Depot, and others, but now you also see just less things being purchased. And in the verbiage in both Lowe's earnings and Home Depot's earnings, they're literally telling you that. They're giving these fun little hints that the buyer has pivoted, the buyer has shifted their mentality. And like they're saying here in this last earnings call, they shifted from buying goods to more service-oriented stuff. And really, if you think about it, that's them telling you that things have now pivoted and changed. And what happens when something pivots and changes and it starts coming out in the mainstream press? Then it gets bigger. It's almost like a snowball effect. Now, how does that affect you with real estate? Well, you're going to start seeing, and we've seen it just recently, where companies like this have massive, massive backstock now. They bought a ton of stuff for this Christmas because they were afraid of the supply chain crunch. And what happened is, like, there was all over the news a couple months ago how they have, Home Depot specifically has so much of a glut of Ryobi tools because it ordered a ton because it was afraid that it wasn't going to be able to get here in time for Christmas. And as it started lining up and filling up these stores, they had nowhere for it to go. So I'm seeing tons of these pallets being sold from Home Depot and Amazon of these power tools that are being sold in secondhand stores. It simply tells you the consumer's done. They don't have any extra money. Their savings is dwindling. Credit card debt is at an all-time high. Things are just expanding and it's going to flip. So we're going to start seeing more sales in stores like this. And as the earnings calls come out and they get worse and worse and worse, it is going to only spell doom for the real estate sector. And this is one of those great indicators. I talk about it in the real estate crash course. If you guys want, I'll put a 75% or a 70% off link below. But this is the time to be preparing for this because these are the signs that give you the confidence to hold back and wait. This is not the time to be rushing out and buying a flip house because everybody's doing it and you think you're going to be able to make a little bit of money. Sure, for the 10, 20, maybe $50,000 you make on a flip house, how much downside risk do you have? If you hold it, your carrying costs are too much and you're now holding this property instead of 1 month, you're now holding it for 3 months or even 6 months, that carrying cost may literally take out all of your profit, and then to the point where all of a sudden you get fearful and you have to sell at a possible loss. Nobody wants that. This is not the time to be flipping homes. This is the time to be identifying the future deals that you're going to be going and not negotiating with a seller of a home. You're going to be negotiating with the bank. That's happening right now. There are literally over 600,000 mortgages that are so behind in default that companies like Dr. Cooper or Mr. Cooper, there's no doctor there, will literally pay you to take them over. But at what cost? Sure, you're getting a bunch of cheap debt right now, and it's pretty much you're walking in and taking over payments. But the thing is, as employers and like Home Depot just made the news where they put out this massive pay raise to try and hold on to employees because they're losing so many employees. They want to retain good employees. As more and more companies have to lay people off and they can't afford those pay raises, you're going to see those people not be able to make their rent or make their house payment. And it's just going to get bigger and bigger. Guys, I hope you got something out of this. This is not the Economic Ninja channel. This is the Real Estate Ninja channel. If you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button, if you like this content, hit the thumbs up. I thank you so much. The Real Estate Ninja is out.